My name is Giselle Biviano. This visual presentation will explore my personal culture and discuss how my Australian upbringing has both shaped and disrupted my Italian culture. Navigating both cultures has consequently impacted my cultural awareness, socialisation, thoughts and motives towards cultural differences within my workplace at Spotlight Retail Group. The way in which I communicate with my superiors in different cultures in my workplace has been shaped by my Italian culture and my strong relationship with my nonna. Respect is highly valued and believed to be exposed through language. Therefore, I believe to show respect to my workplace that formal language should be utilised when speaking to somebody older or a higher class status. For example, addressing by sir or miss, and I obtain strong eye contact. However, it is here where both my Australian and Italian cultural influences become heterogeneous. My Australian culture is a low context and neutral culture, in which verbal message is explicit and actions are minimised to avoid misinterpretations. For example, staring in Australia is seen to disrupt the egalitarian context. It is rude and seen to be of a low class status. Conversely, my Italian culture is higher context and effusive in communication, in which verbal message is implicit and expressing feelings is believed to be more respectful and of a higher class status. Hence, being influenced by my Italian culture, staring for me is common, and therefore some low context cultures, including Germans and Scandinavians, portray me to be culturally incompetent at work. They do not value direct eye contact to be respectful. To put this in simple terms, Edward T. Hall, 1959, modelled a framework which explored the difference between high and low context cultures. He believed that high context groups such as Italians communicated using non-verbal signals, while low context groups such as Australians and Germans communicated in an explicit way. In consequence, with reference to Barner's 6 stumbling blocks into cultural theory, non-verbal miscommunications and language barriers is common between high and low context cultures. Thus, it was pivotal for me to learn how to adapt my behaviour and implicit actions with the culture that I was faced with. For example, only using direct eye contact when faced with high context cultures such as Chinese and Italian cultures. In 2004, Dr. Milton Bennett constructed a model called the Developmental Model of Intercultural Sensitivity. His aim was to characterize and interpret how individuals interacted with cultural differences. Previously to working at Spotlight, my ability to understand other cultures was limited due to being influenced by my Australian business culture. Therefore, I believe I was on the defence stage of anthropocentrism. The defence stage is characterised by having awareness for other cultures, a divided mentality, and viewing cultural differences as a problem to overcome. For example, my Australian context has shaped my business culture and belief that Islamic cultures are socially and culturally incompatible with Australians. My Australian business culture influenced me to value the importance of making a good first impression and to believe that status should never be used to dominate or manipulate another. My Australian context has also caused me to assume that the Islamic business culture values hierarchy and believe in bargaining for a discount. Therefore, I could be easily manipulated at work by the Islamic culture due to my value of making a good first impression. However, my workplace is highly strict in providing discounts, and I believe that morally it isn't correct to dominate someone. Therefore, referring back to Barner's 6 stumbling blocks, preconceptions and stereotypical behaviour is common when one is influenced by their cultural beliefs and values. Hence, to overcome this stumbling block, I had to learn to restrain my behaviour when faced with the Islamic culture and learn to see this culture as not a problem to overcome, but a solution to change my stereotyping behaviour as a result of my Australian beliefs and norms. For example, to reduce conflict, I would explain why a discount could not be provided and offer my apologies. Since working at Spotlight, my ability to understand other cultures has developed. Therefore, my cultural lens has opened, and I believe I have moved on the etho-relative side of DMIS framework. I am currently accepting. The acceptance stage is characterized by appreciating cultural differences and attempting to adapt language when faced with differences. For example, at work, I usually interact with Indian customers and as seen by Fons Chopin's 7 Dimensions of Culture model 1993 are synchronous, in which they often view time to be flexible and relationships more important. In comparison, my Australian business culture is seen to be sequential, in which time is seen to be more important than relationships. Hence, conflict could easily have occurred, but I have learned to accept and adapt by allowing Indian customers to go at their own pace and when serving them, keeping the conversation short. To conclude, the interaction between my high context Italian and low context Australian culture has ultimately influenced my awareness, socialization, and perception of other cultures at work. Since working, my cultural competency has developed, and I can now accept other cultures' values and beliefs rather than just my own. Thank you for listening.